So today I'm going to show you a really fun way to practice improv, and that's by using orphan blocks from another quilt that you've made. And so you just take these orphan blocks and you slice and dice them with fabrics that look similar, and you get a different looking block. And so I'm going to show you how I cut into this. So let's get started.
Okay, so with this block, it's really delicate. It was a vintage block, and you see that mismatched block in the bottom left. So I'm kind of first deciding which way is up, which way is down, and I have this other block right here that matched it, and they came together in that same antique store in Fort Worth, Texas, where I found these blocks. So first I'm going to be just cutting vertically in between the seams of the vertical seams. And I notice I'm not using a ruler, I'm just freehand rotary cutting through this block. And that's going to give me my first spaces for me to add some different fabrics from my stash, where I can start auditioning and experimenting with other fabrics. The fun part about improv, remember, is you don't know what the final result is going to be. So I love that sky blue scrap that I had. I wanted to add some more black in there. So this was fun to add that with that black bar in there. I mean, these are really interesting fabrics for the maker of this block to have put together in the first place. I love both of these. I'm gonna go with this mustard colored one. I like how it has some texture on it. It'll bring out those mustard color flowers. So I've just got these strips kind of placed, and I'm going to freehand cut these strips just like I did the block, and I'm going to sew these strips into the block and then see what happens next. Keep going from there. I'm experimenting with how wide and narrow I want these strips to be. So here you can see kind of the middle of the process. I've added those black and mustard and blue strips, and now I've sliced into those sections. I've added some gray, and I'm adding some other fabrics in here. You can see that circle print with the teal in there. And so what you do is you just keep slicing and dicing and adding more and more interesting fabrics to your process.
Okay, y'all, I'm all finished with this block, and let me show you how it turned out.
Okay, so here's an up close and personal look. And the way I actually quilted this and put it together was by not using binding, as you can see. I just did a little bit of quilting with just the top and the batting, and then I put the backing piece right sides together with the front piece and sewed all around, left a turn hole, and turned it right side out. And I just kind of like the way that that looks. I don't do all my quilts like that, but wall hangings, I do that sometimes. And for a little envelope in the corner, you could use like little command hooks to hang it with. And I just take like a 3-inch square of fabric, fold it in half, and stick it into the corner. And that's how I get that. So you can see some of this I quilted before I put it all together, because you don't see all of the quilt lines on the back. So once I flipped the piece right side out, I then started doing some more stitching to hold it all together and provide a little bit more poof in some of the areas. Um, and so I had a lot of fun like using coordinating threads in the different parts. It's a great way to use up some of your different colored threads. And so I would stitch all the way to the edge and then back stitch it to hold it in place as quilted.
The fun thing about it is which way is up? I don't know. But it turns into really a unique work of art. And this is something that I don't know what it is. I mean, it could be a decoration on a table, like a table runner. It could fill up a small space somewhere in my home, hanging on the wall. But think about the possibilities here. If you have a few orphan blocks left over from a quilt that you've made, and let's say that quilt is now on your bed, think about doing something like this with those leftover orphan blocks and then putting them all together in like a wall hanging and hanging that wall hanging above the bed where the quilt is from those original blocks. Wouldn't that be interesting? So improv and slicing and dicing old blocks is a really fun way. I use this with a vintage block that I found in an antique store, and I just love that I kind of redesigned it from its original way. I loved all the original fabrics in it, and then adding some modern fabrics from my stash was really fun. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe so you'll know when the next video comes up.